Okay.
We're live.
Hello, YouTube world. Thanks for being here. All right. I hear.
It's my hand. I have to not shuffle.
Okay.
It's
this.
Yeah. And I do that.
You go like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Like, don't move.
We can't clap for. That's the best we can do. All right. Here we go.
That's a rest clap.
Hopefully that helped with editing. Okay. Ready?
Ready.
Hello. We're back.
We are back for another episode of the Authentic Souls podcast. I am Danielle.
And I am Savannah.
So we have been doing a lot of binge watching Selling Sunset. I don't know if anyone else can relate. We were trying to think, like, what have we been up to? Like, what have we been doing? Like, literally that.
We just finished it last night, season 4. Wow. Wow. I'm sure most of you have seen it. If not, check it out. Unless you're not into reality TV, then you're going to hate it. But if you are into reality TV and you haven't seen it, check that shit out.
Yeah.
Because chef's kiss.
So entertaining.
I think our favorite part of the show is the in-between songs.
Whether you watched it or not, please pay attention to the in-between songs because they are so bad, they're good.
The transition songs, that's the real word for
it.
The in-between songs. Oh my gosh, what's the one? There's people have made TikToks about them.
Like making fun of the songs because they're just so outrageous.
I'm trying to think of one right now.
Like one of the ones that were making fun of it.
Yeah.
It was like, I know this lifestyle's pricey, but it gets a little spicy.
Oh my god. You want to run with the big dogs? You gotta play with the big dogs. Like stuff like that. It's just
so cringy and all about like, I'm gonna be on top. Like I'm making that money. Like just some cringiest shit ever.
Tyra Banks, America's Next Top Model vibes.
Oh,
like,
totally.
You wanna be on top? Oh my god.
It's so great.
Yeah, turn the captions on so you can read.
And like karaoke, we like singing with it. It's like a whole household thing. We all sit on the couch and just watch it together. It's pretty fun.
I wish I had more songs ready to sing to you because
we should have like an edit, like a cut right now, and we'll make our own song.
Oh my god!
And then it can just like transition and then transition to the beginning of the podcast
about confidence.
Since that's this episode. Oh my gosh, yes.
My confidence is high, like a stiletto heel. I need to figure out the flow better.
Yeah.
But that would basically be the lyric.
I like where you're starting at, like where your head's at. Yeah. So anyway, by the time you listen to this podcast, we're gonna have this edited just to a T. It's gonna be beautiful.
Oh my god.
But yeah, we're talking about confidence, which I think is a great transition from Selling Sunset. Because a lot of those girls are very confident. That's why they're successful. But then they're the girls that go a little too far.
And cockiness.
Yeah. And it's, we got to be in balance. So we're going to talk about being in balance with your confidence, how to gain confidence if you feel like you're lacking in some areas of your life. What else are we going to talk about?
Yeah. Our own personal journey with confidence. We're going to... I think that's really it. Just go over what confidence is. This is a teachable thing. I think a lot of people look at others and are like, oh, I wish I was like that. And I know with Danielle and I, when you decide that you're going to share yourself in any capacity, you have to have a level of confidence to be able to get to that place. And I know we've both had multiple people kind of ask, like, how do you do that? Question mark. And it's like, I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always willing to just hop on a microphone and start talking for 45 minutes, but now
I'm still sweating right now.
That's part of it, right? Exposure therapy, putting yourself out there.
Exactly. And it just gets easier and easier the more you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just even as we talk about these other spirituality topics, whether it's, we talked about like healing the chakras, balancing the chakras, or, intuition work. I think that there's like this starting foundation you need of confidence. Because there's a lot of like trust in yourself that goes along with these things. Like you have to have a lot of trust in yourself. And that's like what confidence is.
Yeah.
So I think if we can teach on this and give everyone like this foundational, if you can get to that level of confidence, all these other topics we talk about are just you're going to be at such a better place to start.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah, along with purpose, what we talked about last week.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you have to have enough confidence to now act on these things that you're feeling within, the
Mhm.
intuition. Yeah, it all comes back down to confidence.
Yeah.
And I think as we've been talking about these things, confidence keeps coming up.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we should just talk about confidence because
I just feel like it's like if we're doing the building blocks, this is like number one. Like
it's
we
so
got to put this
necessary.
one in. So I thought, yeah, I'm excited we're finally talking about it. And it is so simple, but I know we all have areas of our life that we lack confidence in. So
Mhm.
if nothing else, it's just kind of a reminder of the things that we can do to get ourselves back into confidence.
Yeah, and that's a really great point. It's like you can be confident in one in one area of your life, and it doesn't mean you're going to be confident in all areas of your life.
Mhm.
So, kind of learning how to streamline that confident behavior into all aspects of life, not compartmentalizing yourself like, oh, I'm confident here, but I'm not here.
Right.
And learning how to broaden your horizons and apply that energy to all the things.
Totally. And even in those things we are really confident in, that can always ebb and flow. I know for us, if you've been listening to the podcast for the past few months, we've definitely ebbed and flowed out of confidence. But I think when you have just that baseline, it's like riding a bike. Like if you already know how to ride the bike, when you fall off, you're going to be able to get back on. And I think that's what confidence is. It's like once you build it, even if it kind of falls away, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to get back at this and build this up again.
Yeah, I think with again, I keep speaking about this, but it's was such a pivotal part in our careers thus far is like, okay, letting go of our studio, the thing that we built so much, like put so much heart and soul into this thing. And oh my gosh, side note, congratulations to the new people who have taken over the studio.
I think like a day or two ago they moved in.
Yeah.
Which is so exciting.
It is so exciting. So this space that we're talking about in San Luis Obispo, it's still alive, it's still well, it's still thriving, but we are no longer in charge of it. So when we stepped away from that, we both kind of had like an identity crisis for a little bit. And we were like, oh, we were so confident about this one thing that we did.
And
now,
gone.
who are we? What do we do?
Yeah.
And so, we started the podcast and that was going really well. And then we realized, or at least I realized, I don't want to speak for you, but like I needed to take some time to rebuild so many things in my life. And one of those things, just like having personal confidence within myself so I can show up each week to speak with you guys about these important topics.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like just the difference between where we were in July and where we are now, like we've built our confidence up so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that is just like the consistency of our projects and the things that we're building. Like we moved and there was kind of like this like struggle to be like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what's our schedule like? What's our routine? And I feel like now it's been long enough. I think it's been a little over 6 months where we're like consistently showing up to the things that we want to work on. And that's making us a lot more confident.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, and that just goes along with, learning to trust yourself because through this time, we, like you said, we changed schedules, we changed routines, and trusting that you're going to find a new routine, find a new way of living, way of being, that takes a lot of trust within yourself to know that you're going to get there. So starting small, starting with like the everyday things. And moving such a great example, because I feel like if you've ever moved, even if you're in the same city, it's like so disorienting. You're like, whoa, new space. How do I act? How do I behave? Yeah. And if you don't have self-confidence or high self-confidence, that can be really hard to know how to pivot and how to maneuver within that space physically, like literally and figuratively moving through a space, like whatever that energy is that you may feel stuck in. But if you have trust in yourself, and you have confidence, then you'll get through it and you'll come out on the other side.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing. It's like in those moments of unknown, when your confidence comes up, it's going to give you that extra push to be like, no, it's okay. Like I can navigate through this. This isn't scary. Like you don't fall into that fear as easily because you're like, no, I know I've done similar things, maybe not this exact thing, but I've done similar things before. So I have trust that I can get through this too. And I think that's when we're talking about these other subjects, a lot of them are kind of getting into the unknown or maybe things that are out of your comfort zone. So if we can get that confidence up, it's going to be a lot easier to move forward.
Yeah, like we've talked about before, it'll create roadblocks, energetic roadblocks in your life if you have a low self-confidence. You're going to have a lot more, what's the word? like you're gonna have a lot more pauses in life because you're not going to be trusting yourself as much. So
it's
you're
not
going
going
to
to flow.
oh, wait a second. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm nervous now. I don't know if I should do this thing. I don't know if I should act on it.
Second guessing yourself. Yeah.
But if you have this confidence, like Danielle said, you're going to be able to flow through it. And that's the goal, is to flow through the highs and the lows without hitting those blocks constantly, because that'll just slow you down and slow your momentum down.
Yeah.
The low moments doesn't mean that things are stopping, doesn't mean that you have done anything wrong. Like this goes along with having a lot of compassion for yourself in moments where you don't really know what's going on, but you have that trust in yourself. And with that trust comes compassion, because you're like, it's okay, Savannah. You don't know what's going on right now. You're figuring it out. You're here for yourself. That's the thing. I think when you have low self-confidence, you kind of almost like dissociate from yourself and who you are. And you're like, it's weird. You're like staring at yourself in a mirror, or just like, I don't know how to say it, staring at yourself like, you can't do this. Who do you think
there's a lot of negative self-talk that comes up, and I think that's important, like you said, to like have that compassion, to like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't know why we're the hardest on ourselves. Like, you would never talk to someone the way that you talk to yourself.
Seriously.
Can you imagine, like, if someone was like, oh, I'm struggling, like I'm having a really hard time, you're like, well, you fucking suck and you're never gonna figure it out, so good luck.
You should be sad right now, actually. You deserve to feel like this because you messed your life up.
Yeah.
That's evil.
That's terrible. Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know.
That's like we've said, like we'll go back and listen to these podcasts, because we're not freaking perfect. We don't know. We don't know anything. No, like we're just talking about experience and sharing conversations that we have all the time. And like, these are reminders that we constantly have to give ourselves, is you're doing okay. Yeah. Look how far you've come. Just because, like, we can't, what is the saying? You can't enjoy the high moments without the low.
Yeah.
So, having confidence will allow you just to flow right through those. And you're not going to be beating yourself up as much.
I think that confident people don't look at life in terms of success and failure. I think in terms of success or a lesson to be learned. And I think like that little tiny switch in mindset is huge.
Yeah. Learning. Oh, I love that. Yeah. The learning aspect of like, what can I learn from the situation is such a perspective shift, because you almost throw yourself into like a victim mentality too, when you're like, oh, I failed. I didn't do it. And then you're just going to have a pity party. And it's like, what is that going to do for anyone?
Yeah. And it's okay to have like those little moments, but we don't just want to like dwell and sit in those moments and let them like take over us.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I'm sad. Oh, that sucks.
And like what you said, rather than that, rather have a pity party. It's like, you can have the somber moments. You don't always have to be cheerful. Like, there's no way in heck that I am always cheerful. But in moments that I am lower, or, sitting there kind of like, what just happened? It's like, okay, this is the human experience. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to like slowly learn and grow and better ourselves. So it's like, how can I better myself from this moment? And what can I learn from this and apply it so this doesn't happen again?
Absolutely. And I think that's such a successful way of looking at things. Like, I think that successful people are confident people, because they have such a different mindset, and that is the mindset of a successful person.
Yeah. Well, and if you're successful, you're going to have to be confident. And any kind of putting yourself out there, whether it's just like with something you create, or maybe you're socially successful, like you network and you're a connector and you know a lot of people, or maybe you have a business and you're successful in that way. Like, if you are in charge of if you take charge of yourself, in those ways, you're going to be successful. And you can't find a business owner if a business owner is doing well in their business, there's no way that they're not confident. Yeah. Because they go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, okay, let's go back to Selling Sunset.
You want to run with the big dogs? You got to play with the big dogs.
Let's talk about, if you haven't, we'll try and be like as vague as possible and not like get into characters too much if you haven't watched it. But I think this is a really good example for what we're talking about, because we're talking about successful people. People on this show are extremely successful at what they do. But there's two types. There's the Chrishell and there's the Christine. So Chrishell, I would say,
I
This is
love
my
this
perspective.
no, I love this so much because their names are kind of similar, but not quite. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And same thing with cockiness and confidence.
Mhm.
There's a difference. So anyway,
And they're
these are
like-
great examples.
They're like archetypes. I'm not saying this is like 100%. I don't know the full story because it's reality TV. But just as an example, let's have the two archetypes. So we have Chrishell, and I would consider her, she's been very successful to get herself to where she is today. She's also very humble,
Mhm.
you know? And I think, like, what other characteristics? Positive.
Optimistic.
She stands up for herself when she
She's
needs
supportive
to.
of others.
Absolutely.
She's focusing on herself and her own journey and bettering herself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Christine, ooh, girl. Only thing she's got going for her is her fashion sense.
She's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
She's
gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Darling. But Christine feels the need to tear other people down to make her feel good about herself. So you know it's not real confidence that she has, because she walks into a room and she's like, everybody look at me. So there's confidence, but I don't believe it's coming from a genuine place. I think the foundation of her confidence is not coming from a positive place. And also, I think that she teeters on that line. Well,
Cocky.
no, she jumps over the line of into cocky, into
Yeah.
arrogance.
I mean, she walks in a room, she judges, she's going into a room comparing herself to everyone else. How am I better than this person?
Yeah.
She doesn't really celebrate anyone else.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It doesn't seem like it. Yeah.
It's fake celebration if she is celebrating for them.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that those are like a lot of good points.
Negative Nelly.
Yeah. Oh, and victimhood. Falls into
Oh, yeah.
victimhood. Like if all of a sudden everyone's like wanting her to be held accountable, it's like, oh no, poor me. No. Like I'm sad. I'm this, I'm that. And she's not ready to take accountability for her actions.
And this reminded me of like narcissism as well. Like I think a lot of people they don't want to be too confident because they don't want to seem like they're obsessed with themselves. And they don't want to come across as narcissistic. And personally, knowing someone who suffers from narcissism, it's like there's no way you're going to jump over that line unless you do kind of fall into the victimhood. Like when people come to you with like, hey, this hurt my feelings. Like, again, think of Chrishell. If someone came to her and said, you hurt my feelings when you did this, she's going to go, oh my gosh, I did. Oh my gosh, what can I do to make this situation better, to help you understand where I was coming from? I can understand where you're coming from. But if you do it to someone who's really cocky, like you said, they're just going to be like, oh,
yeah,
you don't understand.
Also, if you have the self-awareness to worry about falling into narcissism, the chances are you will not fall into narcissism.
100%. 100%. The awareness is everything.
Yeah. Like if you're worried about that, like you're fine because you won't. But if you don't give a shit, that's when we gotta worry a little bit.
Like a diamond. Shiny and new. I'm just thinking of songs now.
You're actually killing it though. I'm really proud of
Thank
these.
you. I'll transition between each like topic,
I love it. So that was our Selling Sunset segment.
Thanks for being here today as we talk about Selling Sunset.
And confidence.
I know confidence is the title of this, but maybe it should have been Selling Sunset.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Maybe this should be a reality TV podcast.
Yeah. We'll just like make comparisons and just have a subject based around cast.
That doesn't fill my soul as much, but that is secretly one of my.
It's fun to do it every
deep,
once in a while.
pleasures.
We don't need to do it every episode.
I know. I need to get you hooked on Real Housewives though, if we're going to do that.
Yeah. I guess so.
Talk about playing with the big dogs.
I guess so. Well, let's talk about how to build confidence. Like if you're listening to all this and you're like, I get it. I understand what confidence is. I understand what confidence isn't. But how do I build it?
Yeah.
Get to the good stuff.
Now teach me.
Tell me what I can do.
Help me out.
We talked about self-awareness a second ago. I think that's huge. Noticing your mind. Noticing that talk that you give yourself. Do you notice that when you do things, your mind automatically chirps in and is like, you can't do that. I don't believe in you. Like what is
a classic one is, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Why do you think you can do that?
You can't do that. Everyone else can do it, but you can't do it.
Yeah. I know you see so-and-so do it, but why do you think you could do it? You're going to be stupid. That's just, oh no.
Yeah. And where are these thoughts coming from? Are they truly your own thoughts? Are they maybe someone has told you these things? They've taught you these things? Like, just kind of start noticing and like see if you can figure out the root of some of these things. Because
have you watched other people talk about themselves like that?
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe it's been said to you, or maybe it hasn't. Maybe you've just witnessed it. But those things definitely like seep into you.
Totally.
And then from there, having compassion and rewriting the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you can journal about this. Maybe you can stand in the mirror and just stare at yourself for a while. I know that sounds really silly, but mirrors are really powerful. Like, I don't know how we've survived without a mirror. I don't know. How long have mirrors been around?
Well, I mean, you just go to like the local river.
Just go to your local river.
When Savannah and I were Neanderthals, we were just at the river 24/7, just staring at ourselves, brushing our hair with our little like bone combs.
Oh my goodness.
Wait,
I can see it now. Like Geico commercial with the Neanderthals. Have you seen that meme of the Sasquatch like stomping through the forest?
Oh, yes, that's us. That was us. Yeah. That was us. I want to take a little detour real quick to just talk about Savannah as a child, because as we're talking about confidence, obviously a lot of it we learned, but I think that also we were both pretty confident kids, somewhat. Me, certain areas, I was also very shy. When Savannah was young, I don't know what age, her mom, they had in their dining room, they had a mirror at like the end of the table, and her mom had to take it down because she would just stare at herself the whole time during dinner.
All of dinner, I would stare at myself.
And I love that. And I probably totally would have done the same.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a very specific spot where I couldn't see the mirror and I couldn't see the sliding glass door because I could see my reflection in the sliding glass door. And my mom said, like, I would be talking, I'd be engaging during dinner, but I would just like watch myself talk. And I'd be like, oh, look at her.
Checking out her angles.
Wow. Which isn't very far off from me now.
Yeah.
And I can own it, but.
Well, when I talk to people on FaceTime, I do the same thing. I'm looking at myself the whole time.
Oh yeah. There's like a meme out there that says like, if you think I'm watching you on FaceTime, you're wrong. I'm staring at my little box in the corner the whole time.
Yeah. Anyway.
So let me know if you don't do that. Because I feel like everyone does that. Or maybe that's just us.
That could just be us, but yeah, that's just a little fun fact about our journey with self-confidence.
Self-love.
Self-love.
Love thyself. Where were we?
So we were talking about
mirror work.
Mirror work. Yeah.
Go down to the local stream. Actually, it should be, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. If it's a flowing body of water, you're not going to see a reflection.
So it's going to have to be glassy. Yeah.
Like a pond.
Like a pond. So we'd go to our local pond. That makes sense.
Anyway, lake. Go find a mirror. Stare at yourself.
One episode, I really want to do a past life regression, and I'm just going to dive just in the past life regression. I'm just like sitting next to a pond staring at myself.
Yeah. Practicing for this moment right now, saying, I will have a podcast in my next life.
This one day.
And we will speak about this moment.
Yeah.
Staring at yourself. Yeah. Selfies, it can feel really weird, It can feel, again, I think people think it's like narcissistic or egotistical, and there's a healthy amount of ego. Like ego and confidence go hand in hand. You need to be who you are in this third dimensional reality and own it. Like, you have a body, you have certain physicality traits that are different from anyone else. Someone in this world thinks you are beautiful. Like, don't forget that. We think you're beautiful. Your differences make you beautiful. We have these insane beauty standards, and now it's like online. We have filters, and we have all these ways to Photoshop, all these ways to alter our body to make us think less than ourselves. But if you can just really, again, get used to staring at yourself and who you really are, who you truly are, finding your angles.
As Tyra Banks would say, find your angles.
You have something to give. You have the beautiful nature that you are to share with the world.
And you know what is the sexiest thing ever? When someone is confident. That is literally like, you can take two people that look exactly the same. If one of them is confident, you're going to be like, I don't know what it is about that person, but that person is sexy as hell. It's so true.
It's 100%. Anyone I've ever been attracted to, I'm
confidence.
Like, what do all these people have in common? Because I don't have a type.
Yeah.
it's confidence.
Literally.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, have me. I am yours.
Take me right now.
Take me. As Jason Mraz would say, I'm yours. Oh my God. But it's true.
Yeah, it is. So how else are we going to be confident so that everyone thinks we're sexy as hell? We're going to take positive actions. Mm-hmm. We're going to take little baby steps towards the things maybe that scare us. But just taking action, I think, is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you admire? And so for me, a great example or a place to start is, and this is why social media can be such a tool. And I give credit to social media for wherever we are now, wherever I am in the universe, I'm here because of social media. And a big part of that is seeing examples from a younger age. I think I got on Instagram at like 18 and seeing other people show up confidently. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they can do that. And I think for a while it was subconscious, not trying to be this person, but seeing the energy that they show up with and mirroring that energy in my own way. I'm not trying to be them. I'm not trying to emulate them. I'm just like, okay, what are the things that they do that I admire? And how can I apply that to myself? And I think I was doing it subconsciously at first. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, got to a place eventually where I was like, oh, this is like a practice you can do, because either you're going to feel, some people may see these things that people post and can feel extremely jealous, or you can see these things and be inspired by them. So once I became consciously aware that I was choosing inspiration over jealousy, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes I see things and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that house. But then I can switch it and become inspired, figure out how they lived their life to get to where they are now and apply it to myself.
Totally.
Yeah. So if you know anyone online that you can just comes to your head right now, like, oh, this person's super confident. I love their content. I love who they are. Doesn't mean you have to show up online, but these people are tools.
It's just an example of putting yourself out there, whether you're putting yourself out there in the real world or putting yourself out there on social media. Like there's an aspect of confidence that you have to kind of embody.
Yeah. Maybe it's a real life person in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're fucking cool.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to kind of fake it until you make it. I feel like that's how I was with social media. Like I didn't used to be confident. Like I used to be really terrified of putting myself out there. And then it became fun after a while. I was like, oh, I like this.
It's exposure therapy.
Yeah.
It's never going to just come immediately natural to you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to just.
That's why we take these little baby steps.
Start doing it little by little.
Yeah. And I think like just switching your mindset to think long term, like maybe you see someone and you see what they're doing on social media and you're like, ooh, I want to do that, or I want to be there. Like, don't put pressure on yourself to be like, oh, well, I need to figure that out right now. What are baby steps? What are small things you could do daily to work towards that image or, that thing that you want? I feel like that makes things feel less overwhelming.
Definitely.
You think about things more long-term.
And if you're starting from like baseline, like bottom of the barrel, help me. I don't know what to do. Start with just taking care of yourself. Take really good care of yourself.
Agreed. Take
time out of your day to take care of yourself. Even if you have a super busy schedule, it's like, be very conscientious with your choices. Maybe I can do a face mask today rather than sit on social media for those extra 20 minutes. Maybe I can
eat a salad or eat something healthy and nourishing. Or
skincare is a great place to start. I know when I spend a little more time on myself, or like put a hair mask in, like take care of your physical self. So your physical self feels love first.
Yeah, agreed.
And then you're like, oh, look at her.
She looks good.
Okay. And just start there.
Yeah.
Don't stress out on how quickly this is going to happen.
I think
start small.
Just taking pride in yourself and the things that you do for yourself. I think that's a really great place to start.
Yeah. Dressing up in whatever way that makes you feel good. Doesn't have to be the stereotypical glam selling
photo
sunset photo shoot ready look. It's like, what do you admire in other people, how they show up, and try that look on for yourself.
Yeah.
Think of your higher self. How would she dress? How would she behave? How would they show up?
Yeah.
And then just in whatever ways you can in that moment, start there.
Yeah.
And then you will just learn to fall in love with yourself more and more and more. As Danielle's been saying, shall you share your great mantra? Your quote of a million quotes.
She was making fun of me for this. I said,
get ready, everyone. Take notes. This one's hard to remember.
I have to read my notes to make sure I get this one right.
Everyone, are you listening?
Okay. Building confidence builds more confidence.
Okay, say that again for the people in the back.
This is kind of complex, so I'm going to say it again. Remember that building confidence builds more confidence. That's like a mic dropper. We could just end the podcast right now.
Or a brain fuck mind twist. Anyway, it's true.
The idea of it is that if you build a little bit, the more is going to come more easily. It's true. Like that. It didn't explain it any better.
Think of it like little blocks.
Yeah.
Little bricks.
Yeah.
Each brick is a
little bit of confidence.
Is one piece of confidence.
One confidence.
As you keep acting on with confidence, you can put a brick down on your foundation.
Yeah. And then eventually you have a house.
You'll have a whole structure, and that'll be you. Full of little confident pieces that have built one confident whole thing person.
Exactly. But that is not a catchy quote.
No. Thing person? You don't like that?
No. We're gonna come out with a merch drop next week, actually.
I'm pretty sure every episode.
Remember, building confidence builds confidence.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure every episode you say that. I'm gonna put that on a shirt.
I know. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I haven't told you, it's a surprise.
Oh my gosh. Merry Christmas to me.
Mm-hmm.
I get a sweatshirt that says that.
Yep.
So yeah, work on the relationship you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make yourself your own best friend. Be yourself's number one advocate, your number one fan, your number one cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
Go Savannah. You do yours now.
Okay. I don't want to.
I did competitive cheer growing up. I always say that and it makes me sound like so cool. Like I could do flips. I did it until I was 9.
Yeah. What can you still do? Can you do a cartwheel?
Oh yes. Oh, Danielle.
I don't think I can do a cartwheel anymore.
Cartwheel. Round off. These are like the most basic things. I'm like, oh.
Could you like pick me up?
A stunt?
Yeah.
No, I need like.
Okay.
If we get Sean and Dylan, our boyfriends, and we get Reggie, our other roommate, we could be a base because you need a back person.
We're the base, or we're the ones jumping up.
No, I'll put you in the air.
Okay.
I will be the front base.
Okay.
Sean and Dylan will be the ones on the side. You put each foot in their hands.
Okay.
Then you bounce up and you stand. Reggie will be holding you in the back.
Okay.
I'll be in the front, just like coaching everyone.
I can't wait. So we'll have to post a video of this if we ever do this. Our little
let's see if we can convince them. Oh my gosh.
Little gymnastics house.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to add to what you were saying though. I thought it was an important little thought. Focus on what you can control instead of focusing on what you can't. I think that's a good little thought to have because sometimes we get so overwhelmed with the things that we can't actually control at the end of the day. So like you said, maybe that's literally doing a face mask or doing some self-care. Like those are the things you can control.
Mm-hmm.
So start with those things.
And I also think, like you were saying, I think you were talking about Christine, but it was a good note. Like if you find yourself being obsessive about what other people are doing and critiquing other people, have the level of self-awareness where you can call yourself out on that and say, oops, like I need to redirect what I'm focusing on right now. And how can I focus on myself?
Yeah.
And then honestly be like, why am I saying that about that person? Is it because, I mean, it does, sometimes people wrong you and like you can call them out and you can observe what they're doing and be like, that's not cool. But if you're calling someone else out on behavior that has nothing to do with you, most likely, I feel like people who, talk shit on other people who are acting confidently, most likely that's because they're not showing up in that way. And whether it's consciously or subconsciously, they wish they could show up in that way.
Yeah.
So if you feel yourself
makes
doing
them feel good to tear other people down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe you start acting more confidently in whatever way that means for you. Maybe you start posting a selfie every once in a while, getting on that Instagram
do a
story.
photo shoot.
You're like, I feel beautiful. Speaking of photo shoots,
we're going to do one tomorrow. We thought we needed to live by our notes, we're going
to act confidently.
Yeah.
It's something we love. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
I'm really excited.
That's one thing for us that makes us feel really excited and makes us feel beautiful and makes us feel creative. And so that's something that we share. So we haven't done that in a while. So we're like, let's go do a photo shoot. How fun.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people could be like, oh, that's not for me. Like, I'm not a model. I'm not being paid. I'm not working with a photographer. It's like, if you have a camera, which most of us all do because we have iPhones, and you have a friend, and even if you don't have a friend, bless you. We're your friend.
Get a tripod.
Get a tripod.
They're super cheap online.
Self-timer.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes like self photos are the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what
your
looks
angles.
good. You know your angles already. You've been staring at that mirror at the dining room table since you were a child. Maybe not, but some of us have.
Oops.
Anyway.
No, I'm gonna own that.
No, yes. I love it. I think it's so funny because I can just picture myself doing the same thing.
Well,
I think we were very similar as children.
I think that's why whenever we met, I mean, I always say, like, Danielle, definitely, I've learned confidence throughout the years, whether it came innately to me and I think, we look at some people and we're like, oh, like you could say that about me, like, oh, she's always been like that. But I have a really confident mom. So I grew up watching her be confident. So it wasn't anything I really had to
like actively do or work on.
And then eventually I've like, what's the word? Not perfected, but like become more aware of where I can like I'm not compartmentalizing my confidence anymore. I'm trying to spread the confidence over all the things.
Yeah.
And then anywhere that I feel cocky or anywhere that I feel judgmental or, because again, where you're judging other people, it's usually because you wish you could show up in those ways. So it doesn't mean I was just perfectly confident, but there's a lot of ways that I've had to work on things. And I think with us meeting, we saw a lot of ourselves in each other. And I know, like, when it comes to business, you definitely taught me a lot of confidence as far as just like how you can show up and trust yourself. And I'm getting all awkward now. I'm like, you're like, yeah.
Well, and I'm trying to think of like where my confidence came from. Because when I was like a kid, besides like I was confident in myself, but I was also very shy. So like when it came to like approaching people or talking to people, and I still am a little terrified. I'm still working on it. But I think it was just honestly just time and just like growing into myself. I think sometimes too, like when you're young, you just don't know yourself as well. When you get older, you like just learn to love things about yourself and you kind of like settle into who you are a little bit more. So I think, maybe if you're not feeling confident today, if you start doing these things, just also give it time. Sometimes these things just kind of settle in. And I think as we get older, as we get closer to our 30s, like it's so much easier to just kind of like be comfortable in who you are. I feel like early 20s, it's so much easier to like be looking at everyone else. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Now it's like, whatever. I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah. I wonder if that has to do with you being an only child as well.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't have someone like, besides like my friends that I grew up with, but I never really had anyone that I was like comparing myself to that was like in my family.
Yeah. I've always admired that with you. Like you don't gossip about people. You don't, actively like talk shit about someone. You'll share your experience if like, oh, this is what I felt in this moment, but you're not seeking out like, how can I judge this person?
Yeah.
You definitely like celebrate what others do and their wins, and you're not comparing yourself to others, which again, these are all things that I've learned and picked up on through the years of interacting with you. And
yeah, thank you. I appreciate
that. You're also like naturally confident. Again, it's naturally confident now because we've been laying those bricks for a while.
Yeah.
We've been taking action. Now, if you ask Danielle, are you confident about talking to our neighbors?
It's not that I'm not confident on talking to them. I'm just a very introverted person at times. And she's like this neighborhood committee, like, hi, hello, how are you doing? And I'm not used to that because like just growing up, like my family, we were not like that. And everyone in my neighborhood was like retired and old. So everyone kind of just like kept to themselves. And so she thinks it's so funny that I don't say hi to every single person I see every time I leave the house.
Yeah, if someone walks by your house, be friendly.
Oh my gosh, if someone like waves at me, of course I'm waving back. I'm not going to ignore them.
Classic.
But if we're both like kind of doing our own thing in the front of the house, I'm not going to be like, hi, Hi.
Okay. Well, me and
I'm
Monet,
mysterious.
me and our next door neighbor Monet have a real special bond. And every time we see each other, we have at least a 5-minute long conversation.
And that's just like, that's a lot. I can't do that.
But the woman on the other side, we don't even know her name. Or across the street, don't know her name. And do not feel compelled to talk to her because the warm energy is just not there.
Yeah.
But Margarita?
Oh my gosh, Margarita is the best.
First of all, with a name like Margarita.
Yeah, cutie.
How can you not be fun?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm friendly with the neighbors. It has nothing to do with confidence.
I was just saying that we're all working on things.
We're all working on things. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I would say especially with the pandemic, like my social skills are at like 0. Like talking to people is terrifying again. So I'm having to build back my blocks of like socialization.
Oh, 100%.
But
yeah. Me going back into the world, like I remember like a couple months ago, like hanging out with a friend that I hadn't seen in 2 years, like the first thing I said when I opened my mouth was just like an insult. And I was like, oh my God, that did not mean to come out that way. And I'm so sorry.
Is that not how we talk to people? Is that not how conversation works?
No. I was sharing an observation and it just came out bad. She's like, smell my perfume. Doesn't this smell good? And I was like, this smells like Limited 2. And her face just drops. Because if you know what Limited 2 smell like, it smells like cotton candy and unicorns in a bottle. And she's like, that's not what I'm going for. And I was like, oh my gosh, Savannah, can you be normal, please?
Yeah.
And think before you speak. So
we're working on it.
It's part of the human experience.
We fell off the bike a little bit, but we already know how to ride it. So we're going to get back on the confidence bike.
Yeah.
We really are.
We had a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were walking it up a hill.
Yeah. We weren't near a pump. So we were just like, okay, how do we keep going?
Yeah.
But we trusted ourselves.
We trusted that it would come back. And slowly but surely it is.
I know. So being back and recording has been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I like having a topic each week.
Yeah. I've definitely felt more confident with the podcast, which is exciting. Because I can feel it getting better and more comfortable. Hopefully it is for all of you to listen.
Yeah. If you have any subjects or topics that you would like us to speak on in the future, please let us know. You can do it you can find us on Instagram, DM us.
We're at The Authentic Souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Send us an email if you want. That's real old school in my opinion. But
send us a letter. Send us a telegram.
We need to
send
create
us a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, carrier pigeon would be ideal.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
How did they send things when we were in our river sitting days?
Oh yeah. No, you just walk and come find us.
Yeah.
Just walk on over to Santa Cruz. Come find it. We'll be at the beach tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to the beach. Come join us.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna be just staring at our reflection in the lagoon.
I feel like the Little Mermaid when you say that. Like I'll just be singing to myself. Oh my god. Or is that Mulan? I think Mulan does that.
I feel like there's a lot of Disney movies that use that. They're just like pondering their lives while
like
looking
who's
in water.
that girl staring back at me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure those are the lyrics.
You're just on it with the songs tonight.
Will my reflection show who I am inside? You are welcome.
And we're just gonna fade into black when we edit it. That's gonna be the last thing you're gonna hear.
The Grammy is on its way.
Do I call LA? Does LA call me? How does this work?
Let me call my agent.
Yeah.
We'll get my people to talk to your people. Anyway, leave a review on iTunes if you feel compelled.
Oh, we would love that. That would be fantastic.
Highly encourage that because that really helps us out as far as us
just building
an audience, but also when like people search things.
Yeah.
Our name will pop up higher.
Yeah.
And
we would love that. We love you. We already love you, but we would love you
even more.
Yeah.
And that's all for today, folks.
Thanks for listening to our confidence episode. Hopefully there were some little nuggets of wisdom in there for you.
And if anything, go watch Selling Sunset. All right, bye.
Bye.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That one's like funny too.
My hands are sweaty.
Nice sweaty hand. My hands are always sweaty. So,
oops, nothing.
Bye.
Sweaty hands.